Good morning, everyone. It's my first time in Silchar, and it's truly a privilege to be amongst you. It's truly a beautiful town, and it's my first time here, so lovely being here. I'm here to talk about a dirty word today, and that word happens to be politics. So, like most other people, for me, politics was also like national pastime activity, right? It's something that we talk about in our dining rooms, we talk about with our friends, in the comment section of Instagram. But like, I was one of those people too. And to be honest, I don't have a fancy story about how I entered this space. I wish I did, but I really don't. It was COVID, and I was home for 6 months straight, and I was pretty bored. I wanted an outlet, and Assam elections were supposed to be happening. And I saw an opportunity to apply as an intern for one of the campaigns. So, like any other Gen Z, FOMO-driven kid, I just applied, got in. And those 4 months when I did that campaign, those were truly transformative for me. In those 4 months, I happened to learn more about life than I have perhaps learned in 4 years of law school combined. So happened that I happened to leave a very lucrative career in corporate law and decided to go all in. So I just want to ask this question, and I just want you guys to think in your head, perhaps form an image. When you see those words, political consulting, what comes in your head? Just a couple of seconds, think it out. I'll tell you what it means. Done? Great. So, in essence, in a single sentence, it means that we help decision makers, politicians make better decisions. That's basically my job. First part of it is that I help them in winning elections, and sometimes they don't lose. That's part of election day. And if they win, and if they do, and if they need your help, we help them in making better governance decisions. That, in a sense, is political consulting. Now, to the outsider, politics is quite chaotic. It's a lot of TV debates, it's a lot of endless predictions about who's going to win, and it's a lot of loud newspaper headlines. But on the inside, it's a lot of coordinated team effort. So, I was in Uttarakhand when we do, and I was given the responsibility, and quite an important one, to figure out how can we revive Uttarakhand's tourism economy. To give you some statistics, 25%, 1/4 of the state relies on tourism for their livelihood. And so happened during COVID that around 80% of tourists stopped coming to the state, and that left a lot of important livelihoods in danger. And so I went out. I went to the streets, I went to Lobel Tapris to figure out what people are thinking, what are their pain points, and how perhaps we as a political party's representatives could help them ease their pain. So we helped them craft promises, like how could we balance the immediate short-term needs of getting the livelihoods back in order, the economic realities of the state, but also to ensure that this long-term economic development. It was also because I'm representing a client to help in the election, we also assess their strengths and weaknesses, and also that of their opponents. I understood the local culture, the local sentiments, and once I had understood all of this, along with the local demographics, the local communities, the different age groups, professions, once that was in order, I helped them draft their messaging and their social media posts as well. So it was an end-to-end assistance towards how they could perhaps win in elections and later govern it. It's quite unpredictable. It's extremely exhausting, but trust me, it was worth it. So as you can see, this is how Uttarakhand happened to be towards COVID. Nobody was coming. And this is something, a representative image of how our wardrooms look like when we are doing heavy election. Now, the important question is, why should you care? Why should you, as now who might be studying STEM, right? You might be studying science, engineering, and you might be thinking, oh, I haven't studied public policy, I haven't studied law, I haven't studied pol science. Why should I care about politics? And it's a very important question. Why should you? Well, I'll tell you why. You, as someone who's studying in your particular field and spending years and years to develop a deep knowledge that you have, if you do not assist decision makers in deciding great policies, someone else who doesn't have that requisite knowledge set will come in and make those decisions for you. And need to ask yourself, is that something that you are willing to live with? We need people from science, engineering, IT to help our decision makers, our ministers in making better laws, better policy, so that you can see the change that you want to see in the world. So, what kind of purpose do you solve for? Well, here's one. India has an incredible traffic problem. You just need to step on the streets to see how bad it is. I mean, Silchars sort of insulated from that. But go to any major city, Guwahati, Bangalore, it's pretty bad. In Bangalore, as a matter of fact, it takes hours to cover 15 kilometers sometimes. So it's pretty bad. However, India has the second largest road network. Also, the number of cars which are coming on our streets is rising day by day. I'll give you some interesting statistics as well. 9 lakh people each year get disabled by road accidents and traffic-related congestion. And India loses 13 lakh crores every single year. 13 lakh crores. That's an insane figure. And the government is doing a lot already, but there's still a lot more that we can do. I'll give you an example. Dubai took up something very interesting approach in this. So what they did was they created a digital version of their city and they uploaded it on a computer. It's a virtual simulation. And within that virtual simulation, they tried endless iterations on what could work and what couldn't. So they tried different routes, different traffic signal sequencing, and towards the end, they figured out what's the most optimal way for them to manage the traffic. And you know what happened? Towards the end, the outcome was that there was 20% reduction in the journey times of people there. That's time saved, and time is money. So I don't know. So you'll be wondering why don't this ticket model apply to India? A simple question. Well, same reasons why we don't have autonomous cars working too well in India. Indian laws are very complicated, 100x more chaotic than Dubai laws would be, I can imagine. So I don't have a solution, to be honest, but perhaps you do. And that's why I'm here to tell you that you need to tell us how we can make those decisions better. Now, if traffic is not your calling, right? So, sorry, traffic is not your calling, then perhaps you could look for something closer home. This is a picture of Silchar in 2022. Silchar, 90% of Silchar was submerged during the floods, and floods were as high up as 12 feet, submerged levels. Now, traditionally, we have been relying on embankments to sort of contain the flooding problem in the state. Embankments are basically large mud walls which go around 4,400 kilometers in total, and they basically stop water from coming into our cities, towns, and villages. Now, the problem with these embankments is that they also prevent rainwater from going out and flowing out into our rivers too. That's it. That's a small, quick solution to a problem to be, because if those embankments are breached or they're tampered with, that happened very too, by the way, the city gets flooded in a matter of hours. It's quite a dangerous problem. Although it's a temporary solution, we need some long-term sustainable solutions here. And here's something that we could perhaps learn from our Chinese counterparts. This was China in 1998. 60,000 people lost their lives in the floods in China in 1998. And this fundamentally forced them to rethink how they go about tackling floods. They came up with a digital flood control systems, which allowed them to give early warnings to people, and it allowed them to do fast response timings for the authorities so that they could evacuate people quite quickly. And they redesigned the cities to resemble that response. So if you look at how green the city of Chongqing looks like, it basically the rainwater gets absorbed into the ground so that the hard elements of nature they are of the cities actually, the concrete, it does not come in the way. And that water can then be reused by the citizens of the city later on. Quite sustainable solution, right? And we need something like that in state. Now, if you're wondering, is there any role models to look up to? He was not a politician, he was not a career politician. He actually started out as an engineer. He was studying in IIT, and he was a young bureaucrat posted in Odisha in the palace. He was a DM of Balaswar in Cuttack, and a super cyclone was coming his way, and he had to do something to save lives as a meteorological departments were not giving real-time updates. So you know what he did? He logged into the US Navy's website and figured out the trajectory of the floods and helped the authorities evacuate those people who were lied in that trajectory. As a result, tens of thousands of lives were saved, all because of him. And the person from Assam noticed his work, asked for him to join the PMO of the then Prime Minister Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And then he had met the then CM of Gujarat, Mr. Narendra Modi. And then we know, rest is history. The Minister now. So to wrap up, what can you do? You don't need to fight elections to create impact. Let me just clarify it right there. You just need to make small incremental efforts at your own level. We don't need individuals to help our leaders win elections. That's a small aspect of it. And for my entire talk, if there's one lesson that we could take away, it would be this. Bring your perspective to the table regardless of your background. Talk about it, write about it, work on it, even if nobody else is. Work on it alone if you have to. Deliver small yet impactful outcomes, because as they say, to influence mindsets, to shape policy, that too, in my books at least, is politics. Thank you so much.